Here we are at Robina on the Gold Coast, and here I am. Now when you go to the cinema you have lots of different formats. You've got VMAX, Gold Class, but have you ever sat in a cinema that has 3 screens and takes you for a 270-degree view of a motion picture? You're going to go to Australia's first ScreenX. Ooh, we're going to take you in. Ooh. And that is what's happening tonight. Let's see what all the fuss is about, shall we? Let's go. So tonight I went down to Event Cinemas at Robina on the Gold Coast for a special screening of the first Australian ScreenX. Now this is a format that's been around actually got invented in South Korea back in 2012. And it's produced by the same people that produced the 4DX cinema. So this one basically is billed as being a 270-degree immersive cinematic experience. That being that you have your main screen in front of you, and then you have 2 other screens on either side. So one on your left, one on your right, that reach all the way to the back. So there's about 6 projectors roughly as part of the ScreenX, and certain parts of big films are shown in that format. So straight away, I mean, what I would say is that the sound is amazing in this. So the Dolby surround sound really was amazing. So the way that this is basically created is it's either done in post-production or it's done in pre-production to then have 3 cameras shooting all at once. So it can be quite tricky for filmmakers. They basically have to have a second unit filming additional camera work, or it's attached to the first unit of filming, and an expanded shot ratio is handed into play, a little bit like, I suppose, what IMAX does when they're filming in that format. Unlike IMAX, the screens are 67 meters long, whereas IMAX is a higher long format. This is more of a wraparound format. There's apparently a cinema in South Korea that has 4DX and ScreenX as part of their cinematic journey that you can sign yourself up for. Now, if you haven't been in a 4DX screening before, it's kind of like being on a roller coaster. You know, it's kind of fun. There's a novelty, there's a gimmick to it. You know, you don't get rocked around throughout the entire movie. There's only certain sections, and the same thing would be said with ScreenX. The thing I would probably say with this is I think if you're going to go into this to expect that experience for the whole movie, you're not going to get it. Tonight we got it because we were immersed in the best parts of these ScreenX films. Let's get down to nuts and bolts. This is a gimmick, but it's kind of a fun gimmick. It isn't going to change the way we watch movies, I don't think. I've seen in certain cinemas around the world, and I think this is in about 360 or 370 odd cinemas around the world in what was it, 37 countries or 38 countries now, being in Australia. Next one's going to be launched in Sydney at the end of the year in 2023. If you go in a cinema that has exit signs on the sides of the walls, you're going to be extremely disappointed because you're going to be looking at those heaps. Tonight, the design of the cinema was not like that. It looked very cool, very clean. The projection, I didn't think was very sharp. I felt like it was quite muted. The contrast wasn't really there. And I just don't feel like it was it was overly strong from a luminance side of the fence, and I'm not sure if that's because the projectors are projecting across an entire cinema, and therefore maybe the projection isn't as harsh. But I suppose the other thing is this is supposed to be peripheral screening, and I think really for you to be able to get the full immersive experience, you need to be sitting pretty much towards the back. I would probably go maybe 3 seats, or 3 or 4 rows from the back, because you still want to be able to see the big screen, but then the immersive side as well. And that's kind of the tricky part of it. So if you're sitting too far forward, I don't think you're going to get the full effect, although you will get the surround sound coming all the way around you. But I think if you're sitting too far forward, you're not going to get it. But if you're sitting too far back, the screen is going to be too small, and you will get the immersive parts when they're on. But it's an interesting experience. I wouldn't jump out and do it, and I'm not sure what the ticket price is going to be, but you know what, going to the cinema is something that people should do. And if you want to increase your experience that you're not going to get like at home, I think going and seeing any film in any format to support filmmakers, support actors, support the industry, I think is a good thing. And I think as long as cinema keeps evolving, which it's doing and it's trying to do here, I think there's nothing wrong with that. I just think that potentially some things could have been done a little bit better. I would have liked to have seen rounder corners. I know there is a cinema format that has round corners, I think, as part of it. It might have been produced by a slightly different company. It sort of sounds like something like OmniMax or something, and that's like it's like a circular screen. I think I've seen it maybe at Dreamworld or one of the theme parks, and that to me really lends itself well into that immersive experience, because you do feel like you really are in it, where this does feel like it's quite cut off, which is a little bit of a shame. But as I said, any cinema experience is a good cinema experience. If you want to throw a little bit of novelty into it, I'd recommend giving this a crack, because you might love it. I think mixed with 4DX would be like being on the ultimate cinematic theme park ride, which I'm sure would be really good fun. But tonight, the screening of ScreenX here at Robina on the Gold Coast was good. So I'd probably give it maybe a 7 out of 10. I think it was good. It's not going to change the cinematic landscape for me, but it was a good, fun night in the cinema, and the sound was fantastic. So get yourself a comfy seat, get yourself a big tub of popcorn, immerse yourself in a blockbuster, maybe see it in any of these formats. But the main thing is go to the movies, see some great new original content, and support this industry. Hurrah. All right, have a great night.